there's all the stuff I own for D&D, but what if I told you you don't need any of this to play, or even to be a dungeon master? You could play D&D forever for free. Not only is Wizards of the Coast, the company who makes D&D, obviously trying to make money, there's also a whole D&D cottage industry trying to sell you things. I mean, I'm part of it. I sell my own stuff for D&D, and I have sponsors nearly every week who are marketing to players and DMs. But these things are luxuries, not necessities, and I want to make sure that everyone knows you can play this game, even if your hobby budget is zero. Today, I'm going to tell you about the 5 things you might think you need to buy for D&D and how to get them for free. Plus, I'm going to tell you the one thing I do recommend buying if you buy anything. And no, it's not from my shop. That would have been a master marketing move though. I really screwed that up. Before I start running down the list of things you don't need, let's talk about why you might not want to buy anything yet. There's the obvious, of course, you might not have the money to spend. But even if you do, I think there are good reasons to avoid just throwing money at a brand new hobby. For example, what if you don't even end up liking D&D? It might seem shiny now, but if you spend a ton of money up front and then realize the actual game isn't for you, no amount of stuff is gonna fix that. If you hate rolling initiative, you're gonna hate it no matter how pretty the dice you're rolling are. And even if you do like it, everybody wants and needs different things. Personally, I once bought some fancy spell slot trackers and then immediately went back to just scrawling tally marks on scratch paper. Not my thing. On the other hand, spell cards, absolute essentials for me. I love putting them into card sleeves, in binders, and flipping through them like a little spell librarian. But if you're the kind of person who uses digital character sheets, you'd never use them. That's the point. You won't know what's worth buying until you actually play. You don't need to spend a single dollar to figure out your style. So hold off, try playing for free first, and then you can decide what kind of fun accessories you would even use. Okay, let's kick it off with the first item on the list of things that you don't need to buy. Despite my overstuffed bookshelf and the fact that I literally have a recurring character on this channel called The Books, number 1 is the rulebooks. Arr, avast! You talking about me? No, actually. I mean, no judgment. It's just that Wizards actually provides the basic rules for free, so even those who are too lawful good to join you on the high seas can download them. Oh, okay. Shiver me timbers. If you go to dndbeyond.com and hover over the sources menu, you will see D&D Beyond Basic Rules. The basic rules teach you how to play the game and include a pretty solid chunk of the options from the player's handbook. These are the same rules as the ones in the books, by the way, just with a smaller selection of options to choose from. For example, 9 of the 10 species from the player's handbook are in the basic rules, and all 12 classes are there, although there's just 1 subclass for each instead of the 4 that are in the player's handbook. A little more than half the monsters in the monster manual are available in the basic rules, and it also includes shortened lists of spells, magic items, feats, and backgrounds. Most of what you'll be getting if you buy the books is expanded options, as well as more in-depth information specifically for dungeon masters, like random tables and variant rules. Now, you could absolutely play D&D indefinitely with only the basic rules, but at some point you might get bored of only having one type of paladin or choosing from the same 4 backgrounds. Well, good news, Wizards of the Coast is not your only option. People have been making homebrew content for D&D since the game began. New adventures, new species, new magic items, you name it. And most of them aren't trying to sell it, they're just trying to share it. I know, generosity? In this economy, I'd be rolling insight too. Also, let me share a little industry secret. Even people like me who are trying to sell you things so we can afford to keep making things have to give away free stuff. That's how we lure you in. It's like a drug dealer handing out free samples, except the drug is whimsical one-shots with punny names. Yeah, I have adventures for sale in my shop, but I also have a series of videos called Steal This Side Quest, each of which includes a free short adventure. My friend Antonio of Pointy Hat has released several very in-depth adventures for free on his channel. Not to mention, Wizards of the Coast has put out plenty of free adventures too. This is equally true for subclasses, species, magic items, spells, random tables, and pretty much any other element of the game you can think of. I'll link the adventures I mentioned in the description, but honestly, if you just Google free D&D adventure or free D&D subclass, you'll find more content than you could possibly play before your group breaks up over scheduling conflicts. Are the core rulebooks helpful? Absolutely. They're written to be comprehensive reference guides, and I do think they're a worthwhile investment for people who get really into D&D. If you decide to buy a book, I think the Player's Handbook is the natural one to invest in. But the game is fully playable with only the basic rules. And let's be honest, a lot of people buy books that they never even crack open. So don't bother wasting your money on a $30 bookshelf decoration until you at least decide that you want the stuff inside. Now, around this point, you might be thinking, how the heck is Ginny gonna segue to a sponsor here? Surely no one would want to plug their D&D product in a video about how not to buy D&D products. Don't worry, I'm 3 steps ahead of you. Today's sponsor is not a D&D product.
Are you ready? We're leaving in 5.
Almost! I just really wanted to wear my new Victorian coat from Son de Flore's fall and winter collection. Isn't it cute? It's 100% linen.
Absolutely not. Remember when you got us kicked out of that diner?
It's not my fault my scabbard broke. Look, I fixed it. Besides, I may be dressed like a scoundrel, but Son de Flore is committed to producing their garments locally and sustainably. Shopping slow fashion is good aligned.
Please just change into something with fewer bladed weapons. Are you serious? This is a normal lunch. Dress like a normal person.
Why didn't you say that? Even though Son de Flore's clothes have a timeless, versatile style that could suit a pirate or a princess, they can also suit a modern woman going to a normal lunch. There, happy now? Hey!
What? Sometimes I want to be the interesting one.
Pirates, princesses, and protagonists alike will love Son de Flore's new fall and winter collection. Use the discount code GinnyD15 to take 15% off nearly everything through September 20th. Don't miss your chance to get a sustainable linen piece for a great price. Check out the description for the link. This next one is potentially the most expensive place to spend money on D&D. People who get really into minis, maps, and terrains sometimes drop thousands of dollars on highly detailed, professionally painted castles, modular dungeon tiles, and dragons the size of small dogs. Even smaller minis can add up fast, because D&D uses so many different types of creatures that even a basic collection can end up costing as much as your car payment. If you've got Dwarven Forge taste, a single terrain set could cost you anywhere from $50 to $300, which is great if your whole campaign takes place in the same 1,500 square foot dungeon. I've also been guilty of buying pre-made digital map packs for entire modules, which is basically the tabletop version of buying those salads in bags instead of just buying lettuce and salad dressing. But here's the good news, you don't actually need any of that. If your group is into theater of the mind, you can skip maps and minis entirely and just describe what's happening. Believe it or not, some tabletop gamers have good imaginations. But if, like me, you need something on the table to keep track of combat, there are endless free ways to do that. If you don't want to buy a gridded playmat, just grab a Sharpie, a ruler, and some cardboard. Who cares if it's laminated vinyl or the back of your latest Chewy box? The goblins sure don't. As for minis, anything under an inch works for a standard medium creature. Coins, candy, pieces from board games, Lego minifigs. Dice make great stand-in minis, and with the added bonus of letting you number your bandits. If you really want to get fancy, you can go full DIY, modeling clay, paper standees, whatever. It also gives you complete control. Once you've hand-drawn a kobold onto a sticky note and glued it to a penny, you will finally understand how God must have felt. Plus, the same industry secret that I shared for Adventures applies to digital maps. Anybody selling them probably gives some away for free to build brand recognition. And of course, plenty of creators just make maps for fun and toss them up online. If you can't find what you need between our battle maps and our D&D maps, then respectfully, you might be the problem. If you need proof that you don't need terrain, then look no further than yours truly. I've been running D&D games for nearly 7 years, and I can count on one hand the number of times I've used actual 3D terrain. For at least my first 4 years, my miniature collection was just a bag of rainbow-colored flatback rhinestones. We may have been playing on a bedazzled battlefield, but I promise the game worked just fine. This next one is a little painful to me because I am a dice collector. I really like dice. Of all kinds. I like big dice, itty bitty dice, little fishy dice, soft and squishy dice. I like the pretty dice with the gemstones. Make it weird shaped, make it two-tone. I like a white ink, I like a charcoal. I got no self-control. Come and make a roll. From the stray dice to the gay dice. Time to play dice. You're my fave dice. Sorry. I just really like dice. Anyway, the point is, you don't need them. There are tons of digital dice rollers. Some are built into online tabletop platforms like D&D Beyond, which you can use for free and which will do the math of adding your modifiers for you. Others are available on their own. If you just Google search roll dice, you will find dozens of options, including sites that keep a log of your rolls, let you roll multiple dice at once, and even let you roll dice with any number of faces, for those times when you just really need a 37-sided die. Google itself actually has a dice roller built in. At the top of your search, you'll see a little menu with a standard 7-piece polyhedral set. Perfect for those times when you're out and about and have an emergent tabletop situation. Incidentally, emergent tabletop situations are also why I always carry a sword. I personally love dice as artistry, dice as collectibles, and I like the physicality of rolling them. But there are benefits to digital dice too. They allow you to keep accountability when playing remotely if you're concerned about people fudging rolls, they are provably mathematically random, and they can be an accessibility tool for people with vision impairment, issues with fine motor skills, or disabilities that make it difficult to do quick mental mental math. As far as things to buy for D&D go, dice are on the cheaper end. You can get a perfectly nice Chessex set at your friendly local game store for just under $15. I'm sick in the head and have spent a truly embarrassing amount of money on dice, but this is not the norm. And you can absolutely play D&D with just one set of dice. It's like just because Jay Leno owns 180 sports cars doesn't mean that I can't get around perfectly fine in my 2011 Honda Civic. So no, you don't need to buy dice. And even if you do, you don't need to buy expensive ones or a whole bunch of them. The next thing to cross off your shopping list is a DM screen. Officially, these serve two purposes. One, they give you a little privacy so you can roll dice, check stat blocks, and hide your growing pile of snack wrappers. And two, they often have handy reference info printed on the back, like the definitions of all the conditions. Show me someone who says they remember the difference between grappled and restrained, and I'll show you a goddamn liar. That said, not every DM even uses DM screens. Some don't care about secrecy, some are using laptops, which are basically just DM screens that can also play YouTube videos, and some DMs are straight up morally opposed to hiding their dice rolls. If you want to learn more about their stance, don't worry, they'll leave you a 500-word comment about it. But if you do want the privacy, you don't need to buy an official D&D branded screen to get it. A propped up binder works, a big book works, a little duct tape and the rest of the Chewy box you already sacrificed for your homemade battle map also works. If it blocks line of sight, it counts as a DM screen. As for the reference charts, that's what printers are for. Tons of DMs have shared their own DM screen resources online for you to print at home. Plus, the ability to swap out what's on the back makes a DIY version arguably better than something ready-made. If you never use the rules for jump distance, but you're constantly wishing you had your party's passive perception scores on hand, a custom screen is gonna solve at least two problems. And yes, I've been talking a lot about cardboard and duct tape because I want to make it clear that all you need is something functional. It doesn't have to be pretty. But if you want it to be pretty, that can also be free. Wrap it in decorative paper, doodle all over it, go full third grade art project and make a collage. The opposite of spending money is spending time, and if you're willing to put in the time, you can end up with a DM screen that's way cooler and way more unique than anything you'd order off of Amazon. The last things that you don't need to spend money on are virtual tools. And I'm not just talking about virtual tabletops for people who play fully online, but also the digital tools that are useful whether you're in person or not, like character sheet apps. Take D&D Beyond, for example. You can make up to 6 characters there for free, and you can download those character sheets as PDFs so you can safely delete old ones to make room for more without losing them forever. Also, if just one person in your group buys digital books and has a master tier subscription, they can share that book content across the whole campaign. So one generous friend can be a sugar daddy for the whole party. As the person who often fills that role in my groups, I'm just happy to see them happy. While you can definitely sink a lot of money into virtual tabletop subscriptions if you want to, there are also several options for free VTTs. Roll20 has a free tier that covers the basics, character sheets, online hosting, and a couple looking for group posts. You don't get the fancy subscriber-only features like dynamic lighting, but you can still run a perfectly functional game. Likewise, Owlbear Rodeo is another popular one with a free option, which gives you access to all the tools and up to 2 rooms. And if you don't want anything flashy, Gamescape doesn't even have paid subscriptions. The whole thing is completely free, and it's designed as a super bare-bones VTT that's easy to figure out and just gets out of your way so you can play. The point is, you don't need to throw money at online subscriptions in order to use digital tools. Feel free to hang on to that cash so you can spend it on the important stuff, like game night snacks. The truth is, if you're looking to spend money on D&D, there are infinite options. Not just the things on this list, but tons of little accessories designed to help you keep track of stuff or make your game more immersive or solve various problems, both real and imagined. Rolling trays, dice towers, trackers, props, cards, highly specific dice. I'm a little gremlin. I like trinkets and knickknacks. I like to have things for aesthetic. I like lighting a candle called Realm of the Fae when we're in the Fae realm. I like handing a player a little potion bottle with 2 D4s shaped like potion bottles inside it. But those things aren't necessary, they're just fun. If they'll be fun for you and you have a little money to spend on your hobbies, then by all means buy them. But don't let the existence of those things convince you that your table won't be fun without them. When the game is really good, you're not thinking about the terrain, you're not thinking about the scented candle, you're living it. And the only thing you need to invest for that is your heart. So those are all the things that you don't need to buy. But if you're gonna buy anything as a D&D beginner, I have a recommendation, the starter set. It is genuinely a great entry point to the hobby. It comes with pre-generated characters, a set of dice, an adventure that's built for brand new DMs to be able to run, and a slimmed down booklet of the rules that's easy to digest. It usually runs about $20, which is basically the cost of a pizza, except the starter set won't give you heartburn. Being 35 is great, guys. This isn't sponsored or anything, although I will include an affiliate link, so if you do decide to grab it, I'll get a little cut. But I would encourage you to buy it from your local game store if you can, because those spaces are so important to the hobby and they need our support. And if you end up falling in love with D&D and eventually buy the full rulebooks, you can always pass your starter set along to someone else to help them get started and keep the community growing. They're also releasing a brand new starter set soon, and I'm really curious to see how it compares. So once I've gotten my hands on it, I'll make a video all about it, and I will link it right here on screen. But until then, please check out this video about what K-pop demon hunters can teach us about sympathetic villains. Judging by the views, my subscribers are not as obsessed with this movie as I am, which is, if I'm honest, kind of rude.